Uh, it was a great day. I'm proud of our men and women in the armed services. Took a long time, but they finally got them. So today is a great day. God bless our troops. God bless America, and also God bless the families and the victims of 9/11. Because I know for myself, even celebrating the fact, it definitely brought me back to that day where I was, I'll leave my personal stories alone, but my thoughts go out to those families. As to the budget, and I guess that's what everybody's here for. Personally, the teachers who may get a letter, I know that experience personally. My wife is a teacher at Riverdale, in the middle school and the high school. So I'm intimately familiar with that fear of getting that letter. So I sympathize with your concerns. I go through that every spring as to whether or not the budget is going to pass. So I know what that is like all too well. The ballot was confusing. We had no say in where the referendum question was placed on the ballot. Would have been my preference that the referendum question either be first or last, instead of in the middle, but we had no say over that. And I do think there was some confusion in that regard, and to that extent, I don't believe that the vote was a mandate for this council to go and decimate the budget. Do I have some questions in looking at it? I do, but those are just for my own, at this point, intellectual curiosity and nothing more. So I am anxious to sit down with the Board of Education members, go through their budget. Hopefully they'll address my questions that I have. They're not intensive at all, just for everyone who's here, and hopefully this process will play out very quickly, and we can put people's mind at ease and know what they're doing as soon as possible. So that's it.
Thank you, Mayor. Acting Mayor. I did on Saturday attend the Regal's opening day. It was a great event. We had a break in the clouds. The weather was warm. There were tons and tons of people there. It was good to see everybody out. I also made the plant sale when it moved down to the field. Bought a couple of perennials and put them in the ground, and hopefully they're gonna come back year after year. Regarding the school budget, I've taken a look at the numbers. I'm sorry that it was defeated by only a few hundred votes. There were 1,800 people who voted against the budget, and unfortunately we represent those 1,800 people also. So there are a balancing of competing interests that we have to do up here. We have to balance the interest of those people who voted down the budget, and we have to balance the interest of the school children, along with the constitutional mandate to provide thorough and efficient education for every student and for every child under the age of 18 in River Edge. So going forward, I promise to educate myself about the budget and to reach out to the Board of Education in River Edge and to the business administrator and the superintendent. I served on the Board of Education, so I filled those shoes before. So I'm going to take a look at it, and I don't see right now why we can't support the budget. It is only a $68 increase compared to what we're doing up here on this bench, where we put together a budget that has over a $230 increase. And we got our pencils out every day and sharpened them, and we couldn't do any better than that. I'm pretty confident that the Board of Education worked just as hard as we did. So I'm going to really take a look at it and see if we can maintain the same quality education education that we have in times past. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam. John?
Oh, yeah, first, I'd like to congratulate Regal. Saturday was a great day, great crowd, and they did a good job. My daughter's in softball, and she loves it, and they really put together a great event there. As far as the school goes, we are gonna be looking at the budget. There's a lot to be done, in a short amount of time. A lot of paperwork. Just to address some of the stuff that was said here tonight, Tom, you said for us to take a deep look at the budget, and we plan to do that, but that's not really what a lot of people up here are saying today. Basically, what you guys are saying is, well, don't really look at it, just pass it. And I really don't think that's fair. We have an obligation to look at this now. We have an obligation to take a look and really see what's gonna affect the kids and not. And in all fairness, we haven't said we're gonna cut anything yet. But the consensus is that we're already gonna cut programs for children. Maybe we could find something that we can put off for another year. I don't know. We haven't gotten into those details yet. But again, you're asking us to not even look at those details. You're just asking us to pass it. And that's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be looking at those details and see if there's anything in there that maybe, we can potentially put off. One thing that, I did find in looking at this is last year, while they budgeted for $12,867,000, they only spent $12,228,000. And this year, they're asking for $13,125,000, which is $896,000 more than what they spent last year. Which maybe there's a perfectly good explanation, but that's something that I think we should find out. I don't think it's wrong for us to be asking these questions. And I think that we have an obligation to ask those questions. And I just hope that everybody understands that that's why we're asking these questions, because this was voted down, and we're obligated to look at this now. And I don't think if you guys in the audience had voted for something, and a group similar like yourselves came up and asked us to just pass it along, you would want us to look at it also. And then, as far as the generator, that was one of the things that we did put off because it was very expensive. Unfortunately, we do have a lot of things that we have to look at. Throughout my campaigning and throughout, this whole time up here, I've had many residents complain about their taxes. Too high, they're too high. But every time we go to do something and cut something back, we can't cut that. So there's really no place for us, there's nothing for us to do then. I mean, I don't know where we're supposed to go. I mean, the only thing I could say is we're gonna be looking at $15,000 and $20,000 taxes, and maybe we're all fine with that. And if we are, I'd love everybody to come to the meetings and tell us that, so we stop going crazy every Saturday during the budget season, trying to cut little things. Because, I mean, that's where we're going. I mean, I'm just trying to be realistic here. If we don't do any cutting, and if we don't stop increasing our budgets every year, that's where we're gonna be. And if everybody's fine with that, then fine, we're good, we don't have to worry. We can keep giving raises, and we can keep getting generators, and we can keep buying trucks, and we can keep all the programs and additions and senior centers and, everything else that everybody asks for. Because that's what we're faced with. Every time somebody else comes up and it's their stuff, they don't want it cut. And so we have pockets of people that come up every time we're about to cut their stuff that say, no, you can't cut this because then it's, we're not gonna have any services on that, and this, streets won't be plowed, and whatever else. So, at this point for me, it's either we're gonna cut, not just the schools, but across the board, at least so that we're not increasing anymore, or, and it's not just for the schools, this is across the board, or we're gonna our taxes are gonna go way out of control. And there was talk about, people moving into this town for our educational system. And I agree, we have a great education system. But right now, we have a problem with people moving out of town. When I look at NJ Real Estate, which I looked at the other day because somebody had come up and given us a report that there were 72 homes for sale. And I looked it up myself, and there was actually 77. homes for sale, and I came into town in 2006, and there was never more than 30 at a time. And I know that's due to a lot of factors as far as, you know, people's financial positions and things like that. But a big part of that is also the taxes are expensive. And people are taking a loss on their homes now to move out, and they're not moving. I mean, one person that I know is actually moving within Bergen County. You know, so we have a problem with people moving out also. So I would hope that people would just wait for us to see what we're gonna do before they start to get upset about, you know, what we're doing. And that's right now just looking at the budget.
Thanks, John.